directed another direction. So, so almost like if you had a flashlight and a bunch of mirrors down there, you would have, you know, the mirror being the topography, you'll be bouncing that light energy in a different angle. And so because we have more complex topography here in this area that we're diving on now, in relation to the Hawaiian Ridge, the internal waves would have a very complex bouncing around of energy in this area.
What kind of energy is that sort of, what level of force does that look like? Something measurable, or is it?
It's enough to create waves that are like push cold water, denser water up 150 meters and then have it drop back down. You know, there's 300-meter tall waves measured around Hawaii, the Hawaiian Ridge.
Wow.
And big ones in the South China Sea. Some big ones around New Zealand. Well, anywhere where you have a good strong tide and some steep bathymetry, sills or seamounts or ridges.
But the thing that sticks out to me is this is a great example of how everything is connected. You know, I thought we were coming here to study volcanic seamounts created by a hotspot, and then you see that that is influencing these currents, which brings the food, which feeds these amazing animals that we've been seeing. And it's a really interesting chain from 90 million years ago to today that we're still seeing the impact of that hotspot, even though the volcano stopped erupting long ago.
Yeah, the geology and the physical oceanography provide the background, the tapestry on that you then can overlay the biology on. I think that's how I view it. You have to understand these background conditions to understand where life is going to thrive.
I also think about when you put a bunch of scientists and science-minded people in a room, really you just need science-minded people, analytical people, people who like to question. You really are instantaneously doing multidisciplinary science. So, and that's why I keep retelling the story that we were just sitting in the lounge watching the dive, because when you put those minds together, all the minds in this room, for example, are all analytical minds that want to be here. You can really generate some powerful science. When you do science, unfortunately, you're sitting at your desk, you kind of fall down a rabbit hole, and it's kind of one-dimensional, and you're consumed in this one little world that you're trying to understand. But then when you pop your head out and you can share space, you know, dining space, lounge space, conversations with people who also have questioning minds, I think you can come up with some powerful science. And I think that's another reason why to support endeavors like the Nautilus group and other things, that you really are bringing a bunch of minds together that can start seeing the world in a new way.
Oh man, great question from a viewer. Our viewers are on fire for this tectonic turtle shift. So can you measure the wavelength or other features of these ripple patterns and something about the sediments that they're in to get a calculation of how much energy we're talking about? Woo, good question, viewer.
Yeah, so we are going to try to take a grain size. Well, we're going to try to take, I shouldn't say that, we're going to try to take a sediment sample, and then I will do a grain size analysis, and that might allow us to, depending on if we can reconstruct the ripples, and we know their distance, and we know the grain size, we might be able to reconstruct some of the environmental conditions, which might be the energy of the oscillatory water flow or interaction with the surface.
Did you hear that, Dan? We might get to take a sediment sample today.
I did hear that, yeah.
Be pretty exciting.
We can also fill one of those sample jars with.
Yeah, using the slurp?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do that too.
I was kind of thinking that the slurp would be the best approach because we can lose a lot of the fines.
Oh, can
Any
we?
other
Yeah,
way.
they'll be
It-
tossed up, yeah.
It depends. You can, so you can change the media in the sample jar. You can put anything from, you know, pantyhose, cheesecloth, wire mesh, whatever you want in there.
Oh, to
Some,
kind of do a grain size as you're collecting it.
Yeah, some of the scientists put some real fine stuff in there to catch DNA on the media in the jar. So whatever sort of screen you want to sift. And then it also depends on how much power we use for the suction. That's variable from a few beans to a whole lot of beans. So.
Yeah, so one thing that Sarah's talking about, because Sarah's a geologist too, as soon as you start messing around with sediment, you start sorting it. You start sorting its grain size. You don't mean to, but as you, so in order to get an actual true statistical reproduction of the grain sizes that are present in a sample, basically you don't want to mess with it that much. So even though we're going to go scoop it, when we do scoop it, we're going to disturb it, and that's going to send the fines into the water column, and they're going to remain suspended. And then so we're going to lose that fraction of the sediment. Now we know that going ahead, just Sarah and I in a brief half-sentence conversation knew what each other were thinking. But we can just acknowledge that limitation and still take the sample and say that we've probably lost some of the finer clay and silt sizes. And then when we take the sample, we'll see it. You'll see the silts and clays fly up and make that plume, sediment plume. And the sediment plume is composed of those finer sediment sizes.
We haven't used the Mach 3 scoop yet. There's a shot of it there on the front of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
We lost the first two.
Huh.
No, we didn't lose them on this job. We lost them in British Columbia.
So we got various tools stuck to the ROV using magnets. You can see there the scoop that is stuck on there with a magnet. So we can use that to scoop up. Earlier in this expedition, we scooped up some manganese nodules that are going to be analyzed.
We used a little scoop for that, did we? Or did we? Oh, yeah, one of the first dives. Yeah,
Might see some more of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dive.
All right, we got a viewer asking, I'm watching the quad view. What am I looking at on sat feed 3?
Sat feed 3.
That is the cable, the winch room.
Oh, yeah, Steve's got the winch up there.
Yeah.
You see the number 4 going around there.
Yeah, that is...
So the number 4 you see, there's also a horizontal line painted across the entire drum. I don't know if it's still there. That's a new cable that's on that drum. It's 7,300 meters long. Oh, we just put on this year. Took us 2 days to wind all that cable onto that drum. It was quite a complicated operation. Lots of snatch blocks and big winch in the warehouse, and that drum's pretty giant. It's taller than I am. And then we ran out to the deepest water we could find, and just went down with Argus only, and spun the cable out to torque balance it. So obviously we didn't get past layer 4.
So if you were asking, where is that on the ship?
That is in, that's below the main deck. So where Argus usually sits on the deck, if you're familiar with that, it's forward of that a bit. It's basically it's in the belly of the ship, about the middle, or 2/3 of the way back maybe.
I think it's under my cabin. because I can definitely
Yeah, you
hear it
can
loud and clear.
definitely hear it. There's a 150 horsepower motor running that, a giant hydraulic power unit, which you can see the blinking lights in the background there.
It's not a lot of room to maneuver down there.
No, it's very tight. And
Yeah, how
it's
did you get the
greasy
cable
and
on, Dan?
hot, and we had a company come in that has a cable spooling rig, and the cable arrived from Woods Hole on a giant spool, so it looked like a big thimble of thread, and we used a 35-ton forklift to place that cable spool onto their machine, and then we rigged up a variety of snatch blocks and a lot of caution tape and some plywood on the ground to keep it from, because it's greasy. The cable is impregnated with grease, so we don't want to get any grit or dirt on it. And wound it around through the warehouse, out the door, and then up through the A-frame overboarding sheave, and then across the deck, down through. So there's a turning sheave on the deck there, right by the Hercules hangar, where Hercules sits when it's on deck. And then down 5 wraps around the traction winch, and finally onto the drum. So we kept just a little bit of tension on the cable while we were winding it on, and so we didn't get any loose wraps or anything, and away we went.
So that big number 4 that's painted there, we're seeing a different angle of the cable room. That's telling you how many layers of cable you've played out already?
Correct. I think that's the 4th layer. So we started out, there's a number 1 on the first layer. So that's there's 3 layers underneath that on the drum.
Oh, okay. So we're counting up from the bottom.
Yeah, and the reason for that is, so there's also a horizontal line painted across the drum, and then as the cable, I forget how many turns we got this time. I want to say 9. Depending on the cable we've got on different systems, we've got somewhere between half a dozen to several dozen on some cables. Then when we wind it back on, we can count the spaces in between where you can't see the line, and that will indicate that the cable has turned. And then that's kind of a ground truth we monitor how many times Argus spins on the way down and at depth, and then on the way up. And we look at those lines after we wind it back on, and just kind of make sure everything is driving.
So we're at a depth of about 2,800 meters right now and descending to a final depth of 3,370 meters. So we got a little bit of a ways to go here. Herc is rated to 4,000 meters, so we are not at our maximum depth on this dive, but we are deeper than we've been on some of our more recent dives. So we got a lot of blue water time to reach that depth.
Argus can go deeper than Herc. I think Argus is what?
6,000, I
5,000?
think.
6,000?
Yeah.
Most of the gear we have on both vehicles is 6,000 meter rated. The limiting factor with Hercules is the buoyancy flotation. It's composed of microspheres, or little teeny glass balloons and epoxy. So depending on the density of the epoxy versus the microspheres, the buoyancy will have a depth rating.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off. So the deeper you go, the more buoyancy you need, and the denser it has to be, so it's heavier, so that we then have a weight limit, and then you need a bigger crane to lift it off the deck. And stronger frame to hold it on the vehicle. And Argus doesn't have to worry about that. It doesn't have syntactic foam on it.
So back to this idea of these sediment or these tidal forces being oscillatory. That doesn't necessarily mean they're changing direction, right? It just means like the amount of force. If you picture a wave, at some points in the wave, it would have higher energy and lower energy as the wave is passing through. Is that right? Or is it actually changing direction?
The currents change direction. Yep.
Whether it's at a peak or a trough of the wave.
Right. You get a signal in the density where the densities, a given layer is going up and down, and associated with that are currents that change direction with a 12-hour period.
Is that's tidal?
Yep.
So when the tides are going in, not right at the same time, but as an effect of high tide, it's going one direction, and then as an effect of the tides going out, the energy changes direction.
Yeah, so what happens is that's like this, think of the surface tide as what you see in sea level. That gives you your high and low tides. So as high tides approaching the Hawaiian Ridge, you're going to have some currents, very weak currents throughout the water column associated with that. They're going to disturb that density layer. They're going to push that cold water up and over the ridge. Gravity will pull it back down. So now you got much smaller scale waves moving away from that ridge. The surface tides are thousands of kilometers long from crest to crest. But these internal waves are 80 to 100 kilometers long. Around Monterey, they were like 30 kilometers long. But so it's going to be smaller scale oscillations in the currents.
All right, we got a great question here from a viewer. Thanks so much for keeping those questions coming in, keeping us company here on the Blue Water Descent. In your wildest dreams, what would you encounter on today's dive? Ripple marks sound kind of tame, but they're exciting in their own way. I mean, I want to see an octopus. Yeah. I don't care what kind, what size. I just really would love to see an octopus.
Or a sperm whale diving would be pretty epic.
I'd love to see a deep diving whale. Yeah. This would really be pushing it, though, I think, for their limit.
It has happened before.
Not when I was on one.
Me neither. Anybody else have a wildest dream sighting that they'd like to see today? Come on, Steve, get those wild dreams out there.
Thinking about it.
All right.
I think any animal that hasn't been seen before would be just fine.
I haven't seen a lot of ctenophores on this expedition. Is that, are they not common here in the tropics, or?
I don't know about their distribution.
Yeah, I haven't seen an octopus either.
Nope.
Do they have the mega mouth shark here? The mega mouth shark, like you see in the Monterey Bay?
They are so cool.
Oh, no.
That would be pretty awesome to have him floating by with his mouth open. In my wildest dreams, that was the question.
Go. That's right. Dream wildly. Then again, I had no idea how exciting sample collection could be until our watch yesterday, when that sample collection right at the end of our watch was about the most exciting thing I have ever seen. So, you know, maybe we'll have another really cool collection.
And the squat lobster made it up.
There you go.
To the surface.
Did it look just as pink?
Yep.
And spiky.
So what we're referring to is on this second ridge that we explored on Euphemia Seamount, we came across a rarely sampled black coral with probable new species of squat lobster sitting on it. And so it was a twofer, nice sampling opportunity. Got them both. We clipped a branch of the black coral, and the squat lobster sitting on it stayed on it despite
What's that?
a very complex stowage of that sample.
So we think that's a new species?
Yeah, of the squat lobster.
The squat lobster. And did we think there were a few squat lobsters on that coral? Were the other ones looking similar?
They were similar, yeah.
Interesting.
There might have been 2 types on there.
Well, I think it had been identified, but it hadn't been described, right?
Right.
It had been seen before.
But not sampled.
Oh, right.
Megamouth shark has been sighted in Hawaii. So there you go. Your wildest dreams could come true.
Mega mouth shark.
All right. Here's a great question. How long has your watch team worked together? How did you learn to work together so well?
On the fly.
Yeah.
On the fly is the right answer.
How many days have we been on the boat?
Yes.
This team's been 2 weeks,
Yeah.
more or less 2 weeks.
But the first 3 days were transit, so we didn't start standing watches until that 3rd day out.
Sure. I've been on watch with Dan before, and Emil.
True.
This is my first time on Nautilus, so I haven't been on watch with anyone.
You're spoiled now.
Yeah, tectonic turtles rule.
Have you bumped the craft lately?
We do have a range of experience levels here. Some folks have been on many, many cruises. Got some newer folks. Sarah, how many expeditions have you been on?
This is my second, but the first one was very different. So we didn't have dives like this, so there weren't necessarily watches like this. It was all testing Atalanta and Little Herc.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really? I'm jealous. I haven't yet to see Atlanta and Little Herc.
Wait, so you were on the
Go off
cruise
deck.
between Hawaii and California with me?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah. That cruise was a blur, getting those vehicles up and running. I don't remember very much of it.
You were far busier than me.
So certain members of our team have definitely worked together before, but this particular, might I say, magical combination of humans just came together for this expedition. And I think as the newest member of the Corps of Exploration, I will say the reason that we can manage to work well together is because we're all trained in our role, and the roles are designed to fit together so that everybody has duties at their station to help reach a common goal. So I like to say that teamwork makes the dream work. But a few years ago, I was working with a group of students on a Engineers Without Borders project in Ethiopia, and I kept saying, teamwork makes the dream work. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's get this project done. And one day, a student stopped and said, "Yeah, but doesn't dream work also make the team work?" Oh, snap!
Snap.
And so we all have a common goal here, and I think that's the reason why we're able to make the magic happen.
So we have the magic in the control van, but we've got an extended team with the telepresence. The folks at home watching Nautilus Live can help out with citizen science. And we draw on the brain power of our scientists ashore who register for special access to a chat portal for these dives. And so we've got an extended team here.
Thanks for that great question. If you want to learn more about our team, you can go to our website, nautiluslive.org, and click on team and learn more about all of the roles on the ship. Not just the glamorous science party line jobs that we all have here.
We're getting closer.
As we approach the sea floor here, we're getting a few more viewers from around the world. Thanks so much for joining us here in the deep, dark hours of the early morning in Papahanaumokuakea Marine Monument. We are just about 200 meters above the surface and descending.
Closer.
Here we go.
We're getting closer.
Sneaking up on some rocks.
Gotta move really slow so they don't see you coming.
That's right.
Don't make eye contact with the rocks. Might scare them off.
So are we still collecting our chunky rocks that we're looking for on this dive?
We're still collecting chunky rocks because we want to know how old this seamount is.
How many more rocks can you collect before we actually affect the flotation ability of this ship? Like, you've gotten a lot of rocks.
We got 450 pounds at least.
Me and
Really?
Steve joke about us causing some isostatic adjustment because of all the rocks we've collected.
I mean, it kind of doesn't seem fair that I was limited to bringing a backpack on board and you get to bring 450 pounds of rocks.
This is why you were limited to a backpack.
Changing the depth of these seamounts.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to limit my luggage for science, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
True.
Roger.
Keep those questions coming at nautiluslive.org. Things get a little busy when we reach the
I'll watch the
sea
alarm
floor.
page here.
We have a
Turn
little bit of
on.
time for some blue water questions. And then once we start exploring, we prioritize our nav chair. They speak with the bridge to make sure that the ship and the ROVs stay in good position. And our pilots who make sure that we're
4 seconds.
operating safely. We
7
prioritize that
seconds,
so
8
we don't have as
seconds,
much time for your questions.
10 seconds.
And then we do
That
get
was
to your questions as we can. So keep those questions coming and we'll take them throughout our time.
No, it should have been heard from again. Gabby,
Yeah,
so
with
you've
this
done a massive change.
Deeper
there.
dive, it's going to take a while for ship steps, adjustments of the ship's position to translate down the cable to Argus. So it'll be a slower response when we're stepping along this ridge that we're going to
No,
explore.
it's been 30 seconds now, and it hasn't heard from the DC ground fault, so it hasn't updated.
So it's not the
So
it's not
a-
the delay
no,
in the
it has a-
signal
so it's a
getting down there.
massive
It's the
change.
delay in moving through that much water.
Right.
There, it updated. It's one of those two devices.
Well, we'll try to get you over the 500-pound mark here on this dive there to.
It's in the caves.
500
Let's
pounds of rock.
leave it on. Run it.
And you have to offload those all off the ship yourself, right? Like that's part of the deal.
No, not
No?
part of the deal.
No?
It's the,
They're being
it's the
stacked on a
doublet.
pallet.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
We'll use modern machinery for that.
Yeah. As long as it's still K something, I'm not concerned.
All right, we got about 100 meters to go here.
It's going to set us down right on some fabulous ripple marks
With an octopus.
with an octopus
And a shark.
and
Wait,
a
that's
mega
mouth
mouth
open.
shark.
If we see a shark at these depths, I don't know. I don't know if that's...
Yeah.
The
You want me
mega
to
mouth
slow down?
shark, isn't he come
I'm
from
gonna
the
slow down.
Monterey Canyon? He lives really deep, doesn't he?
I don't know much about them.
Yeah, they found them washed up in Monterey before.
Hmm.
The mega mouth shark.
It's also a filter feeder.
It is a filter feeder indeed. That's why it's got a big old mouth. Because he just kind of cruises through the water column with his mouth open and says, "Get in my belly."
Yeah, it doesn't seem, not a lot is known about the mega mouth.
No, because he lives in such the deep,
Yeah, right.
deep water.
so few observations have been made that they can't really say for sure.
They can't say for sure how mega its mouth is.
No, they can't say for sure how deep it likes to hang out. But the very first one observed was in Hawaii.
Really?
And they believe it got tangled up in a sea anchor at a depth of around 4,600 meters.
Whoa.
So
If
if that's real,
too deep for us.
if you can trust the Wikipedia,
Well, maybe we'll see a mega mouth shark then.
I'm for it. I'm all for it. So we're halfway through our 4-hour watch here and just now approaching the sea floor. About 60 meters to go. You can follow along with our depth on our website, nautiluslive.org. If you click on more data, you can see all sorts of information that we're receiving back from the vehicles through that tether that we spoke about so much.
We will be going east. Yep. Yeah, we'll go east, southeast to get onto the ridge and then pretty much due east. Back row, do you have any specific or other specifics on our route up the ridge?
Do not. Just try to follow the local topography that doesn't quite show up in these contours, but in general, yeah, east.
Roger.
I want to give a shout out to a very special viewer who works in the healthcare profession and introduced this live stream to their colleagues in the ICU during night shifts and finds it very therapeutic. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. And we're glad that we can keep you company and that you can keep us company here on the 12 to 4. Thanks so much.
Yay, go team go. We believe in you.
That's
absolutely.
Incredible. So Kate, I would just recommend trying to keep the moves on at about 0.2 knots because unless we see something really fascinating, it's going to take a while if we stop to start again at this depth.
What was the DC without the DBL? It was 3 point something. Eight. I can
wire
turn
cam.
it off for a minute and I'll just get a baseline there.
Is that squid?
Yeah, I think we're seeing some squid in the wire cam.
Oh, behind the ship. Or
Yeah.
oh, at the
Look at
surface.
that
Yeah.
guy.
Oh,
Going
the
for the
squid is
wire.
attacking the wire.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
So sat feed 3 or channel 3 on the quad view, that's our wire cam. That's showing the cable going down towards the vehicles. Keep an eye on that. We've been seeing some squid, some rather large
What do you
squid
guys use for the Jason?
at the surface there. Are they attracted by the lights on the back of the ship?
Yeah.
I wasn't making that up, right? You guys saw that squid,
Yeah,
right?
I saw it.
Yeah, I saw
Okay.
it.
It's surprisingly large.
It was a big one.
Yeah. They're so fast, the squid. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they can just be kind of like drifty and
then take off.
and then
Yep.
of course now that we switched to that on the live feed, now the squid have vacated the area. Isn't that how it goes?
I don't mind.
We're getting closer.
Are we there yet?
We're there, so close.
So the only anomaly here is 36% in the humidity in the Herc bottle. Last dive we were running at, where is it? Oh yeah, it is. So yeah, it's been running at 30. Never mind. It's not an anomaly. All good. Gauges are all good. Okay. Green lights except for that pesky DVL. You can turn it back on now. Oh, it should be on. I need to come down some more. You ready? I'm just going to cycle this dude here. Okay, ready? Coming down. Looks like you're headed uphill. Look at all that red on the sonar. I like it.
We're getting closer.
Maybe to our right.
I see it.
A
I
touch.
see it.
All right. So we're going to let the pilots get oriented here and set up on bottom and do some
Just going to change my
necessary
resolution here.
checklist items, and then we'll be taking a brief pause.
I never take for granted we're the first humans to see this part of the Earth.
Absolutely.
Unless you happen to come across an Alvin weight. Thing has been everywhere. Or you might see a Pisces weight. Have they been out here?
I think these seamounts are unexplored.
Oh.
I am not in any autos.
Wow, it must be steep. I'm getting, I'm still 40 meters up. You're on the seabed?
I'm 18 meters up.
18, right? Crystal clear water.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I wouldn't have guessed you were 18 meters up there. Are you sure? Wow. Argus is looking up the hill, basically due east.
Roger that.
Kind of.
I think Herc is finding the hill to be 090 as well. Maybe 105, 100, something
That's
like
an
that.
interesting, look at the Argus sonar. One of those two
Yeah,
shark teeth at the top of the display there. What's
yeah. They could be just shadows. They're probably just shadows.
that? From what?
I don't know.
Megamouth sharks.
There you go.
Mega
Shadows
mouth
of sharks, yep.
Mega shadow.
Speak it into the universe.
So do you have master position now on DVL? Excellent.
Huh. Curious.
Standing by for white balance whenever you're ready.
Roger. Are you ready, Gabby? Can I bring our weapon out here?
And can we confirm the porch light is off?
Porch lights off.
Copy, thank you.
Really? Oh, well, that's... Where is it?
What do you got going on there,
That
Dan?
has to be on for
Oh, yeah.
be effective bumps on the way down. So we've been bumping.
Oh, no.
We've been bumping nothing.
We did nothing.
Not nanny.
So it
My
didn't
favorite
matter.
cereal.
It didn't matter that I didn't, that I remembered to keep the jaw closed.
No.
Good one.
That would officially be pilot error.
So it's not the thought that counts?
Compounded by co-pilot error.
Oh no, that's so embarrassing.
So many buttons.
I know. So little time.
Too much time, apparently.
Oh, too much time, too many buttons?
Okay, we're going to go black for a second. Is that okay?
Roger
Yep,
up.
absolutely.
I really want to know what that shark tooth is in the Argus sonar.
It's just a shadow. It's probably something that, you know,
Yeah,
a
it's
feature
gotta be
that's above where the...
Or
I
below.
don't know, or
It's got to be below. Otherwise it would be red, right?
Sure.
Are you good there, Steve?
Stand by. All good.
Standing by. Right.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. Can anyone tell the difference there?
What's that?
Can you tell the difference?
In the video?
Yeah.
I think I can.
It's always good to black balance as well when you're bringing the camera into a new environment, different temperature.
So pilots, are you in a good place to take a quick pause here?
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to hear our team go off SPL for just a brief moment so that we can take a moment to conduct this private ceremonial protocol. We're doing this in order to acknowledge and honor the biocultural resources that are present here and that we are about to be interacting with and impacting. So we'll be off SPL for just a moment and back with you very shortly.
Ready.
Ready for some knowledge of the deep.
Let's explore.
Okay.
Well, Herc is facing 110.
Yep.
Looks like we got
One looks
slope.
perpendicular to the slope at 110 maybe.
Let's make a move.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm game.
There's an interesting anomaly in the Herc sonar as well to maybe check
yeah.
out. It's a bit on your left. We'll see in Argus before you get there.
Bridge, nav. We are on bottom and ready to get underway. Can we move 50 meters, bearing 110 at 0.2 knots?
How much are we tilted right now? I'm just looking at the small flare. There, that was enough, that small movement. That's great, thank you. Beautiful.
Dan, I'm not going to need the Doppler on for a while. We can turn it off if it's going to sit there flashing red lights at me.
I think we'll watch it for a while and see.
Okay.
It's up to you. I don't. You get better now with the Dopplers for the track, for the...
do you see how spot on the Sonodyne is?
Yeah, but we record all the DVL data, and that's part of our deliverables. So.
Okay.
So the Argus view is on the left
we're there.
and the Herc view is on the right, is that correct?
Okay,
Correct.
I'm going to start looking for stuff to see.
For the sonar?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
That's what you're seeing on sat feed 3 or channel 3. Argus view of sonar on the left and the Herc view on the right.
The one on the left is looking out 100 meters, so all the little red circles are 20-meter divisions, and the Hercules one on the right is looking out 50 meters, so those are 10-meter divisions. The kind of paint splatter things you hear are just noise, probably possibly from the other sonar or from the USBL, or just weird reflections off the rocks, or the combination of all three.
So we got some various goals here on our dive today. One of them is to pick up some rocks for dating purposes.
Just going to change your frequency to 900 hertz on the starboard sonar. That should be less noisy, but you won't get a good return.
A return on what?
I changed the frequency on Hercules sonar to 900, so you get less interference, but it's a higher frequency, so you're not going to get all the...
Yeah, there was a lot of noise happening there.
From
Thank
the
you.
rocks. Roger.
Excellent.
Is that a lone sponge up there?
Oh yeah, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
First wildlife of the dive.
Holding it down for 3,300 meters.
What a thin stalk. So in addition to our geological goals and observations that we hope to make about the wave ripples that we talked about on the blue water part of the dive, we're also surveying visually for sponge and coral communities. We've been seeing very sparse communities like this, but also some very dense and diverse communities on other dives. That's part of the mission of this expedition, to try to figure out where we are most likely to see those dense, diverse communities on seamounts throughout this region. We can't go everywhere, so we're kind of spot sampling to see.
We have a brittle star and an anemone on the sponge.
He's supposed to be doing 115, is he? Okay.
110.
110, roger.
It's easy to get high up off the deck. The water is as clear as we've seen it on this whole cruise. You sort of, except for the color, you don't really have a great indication that you're all that far away.
The water clarity's been pretty good this whole cruise, huh?
Yeah, it's been amazing. And then this is just like above and beyond. This is really crazy.
These look a little too rounded for sampling.
Yeah, these are too rounded.
Roger that.
Those laser dots you're seeing are 10 centimeters apart, or about 4 inches apart. It helps the pilots know how far away they are, and also helps us know how large rocks and organisms are that we're seeing.
Bridge, nav. Can we continue that move? That was bearing 110 for 50 meters.
So Kate's moved the ship 50 meters so far, and Argus
Has gone nowhere.
Yeah,
gone nowhere.
it's been 5 minutes and 47 seconds too.
Awesome, girl. You're
Okay.
timing it.
Yep.
Spot on.
Yeah, I would say.
What's the estimate?
Well, we're kind of moving now, so I'd say 6 minutes.
Yeah, just a little tiny bit.
When we were in 2,300 to 2,500 meters of depth, it was about 3.5 minutes.
Well, you can see the lasers from
Yeah,
Herc and
I
Argus.
just noticed that too.
That's wild.
It's a little sponge top left.
Yeah, another little sponge.
Looks like a little wall lamp.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if our layback stays the
Yeah.
same. Kind of convinced lately that we pay for the higher speeds and that
Go for zoom.
Yeah, what's that above the sponge?
excessive layback.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
Interesting.
Is that's a different sponge, I
yeah. A
think.
tunicate?
It looks like a
Looks like it.
tunicate, yeah.
You want me to,
Sweet.
I don't have a great marble
the
to rest on yet.
come
Go wide.
on.
Brittle star on its stalk.
It's like caressing the soft or smooth spot on the rock.
Do we
Yeah.
think that's a tunicate?
It looks
Yeah.
kind of like a tunicate.
Relative to the ctenophore?
I don't know.
Want me to do your...
I think I got it. Go for zoom.
Yeah, that's a tunicate.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
And see, it has something living inside it. I can't see what it was, but
I'll click around for it.
It's all right, it'll come.
Yeah, it's just scooting around in the breeze.
That's so cool.
Definitely a breeze there.
That's a neat slot.
see, I said it looked like
Oh,
a mailbox. It
what
does
a
look like a
great
mailbox,
shot.
right?
It's like a mask.
Or like a
Absolutely.
whistle.
Iron
Looks
Man or
like a
something.
mask.
Oh, yeah.
Iron
Yeah.
Man.
Whoa, it looks like a face right now.
I totally see the Iron Man now. I can't unsee
Yeah.
it.
I cannot unsee what I have seen.
Okay,
Great shot, Gabby.
shall we mosey?
Mm-hmm.
So I was today
Yeah,
years
nice-
old
nice
when I
landing
learned
there.
that tunicates
A little
are
rough,
part
but
of
thank you.
Nice and
It turned
steady.
out good.
Yeah.
tunicates are part of the Chordata phylum, which includes all animals with dorsal nerve cords, including
Oh.
vertebrates.
There's a bunch
Oh,
of
there's
more.
more,
There's
yeah.
Four more right
tunicates,
there.
Yeah.
No kidding.
It's a good sign.
Another sponge on the right. A lot of pillow lavas. More tunicates on the right.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Could use a little more tilt up. and then I
Yeah,
can-
thank you.
Yep.
I'm
Thanks.
playing with the Magnum there, trying to get it all the way.
That's great. So it's a sweet spot.
There we go. There's a couple more of these fellas. Okay, and I need to stay in the box.
Just a slot.
It's amazing. We could do so many dives without seeing any of those.
Yeah,
And then you see a dozen.
yeah.
Oh,
It's a nice one.
how many more?
Yep.
So many.
That Magnum should be on your face a little bit more now.
There's a bunch more of them.
Maybe.
Wow.
The water is so clear. I'm at
Yeah.
It's crystalline.
Like the lenses stop down
Is
more
that
than
a
usual.
different type of
Oh,
tunic?
really? Just too
Yeah.
much light?
It's just not
Yeah.
blocking any of the light right now.
Yeah.
Are those a different type of tunicate, or are those the same kind that we
I
saw?
believe they're the same ones, and they're all over this rock.
Everywhere.
It's Argus bang on 110-ish.
Roger. Missed.
That's a nice view.
They're very delicate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have to admit I was skeptical when you said they looked like mailboxes, but
Yeah, they kind of blew my mind the first time I saw them too. Something, is that a polished rock or another tunicate right below? I can't tell.
Is it on the left?
7
It's
meters
gone
up.
now.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice name, Cooliolis.
Cooliolis.
I don't have enough. I don't. The viz is too good, so I'm gonna need to like dial in Z bias. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep drifting up.
Yeah. That dark spot at the top of the HT is
Say again?
the shadow at the top of the Zeus is indicator.
Oh, as a indicator of how far up you are?
If you drop down, and that shadow from the bar up there will disappear.
Yeah. I mean, the color is a good hint too, right? It gets bluer as you go back.
That shadow drives me nuts, so I try and stay it where it's not in there when I can.
That makes sense.
I want to take a sawzall of that bumper bar so bad. Get rid of that shadow, hey Steve?
Yep.
Shadow must go.
See all the light that hits the light bar? You can see it in Argus there, so we're burning significant amount of our light on we've got some special anti-reflective paint on there.
thanks so much for tuning in from wherever you are in the world.
Can we move 100 meters, bearing 110?
Is that a coral or a crinoid right below you, lower left?
Below me.
Your red light
like
went over too, by the
yellow,
way.
dark yellow.
Yeah, that's nice.
Not seeing
Don't know if I saw it.
Right there.
Oh, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good eye.
Black coral.
It's impressive for 2 in the morning.
A black coral or a...
Yeah.
Yep. A black coral at 3,300 meters.
We were looking for some zooms on black coral yesterday. Are we still looking for that?
Yeah, if we can.
Go for zoom.
It doesn't seem to have any associates.
Turn a little bit more. Thanks, Jen.
Gives me something to do.
I know.
I should warn you.
There we go. That's a nice
What's that?
look.
I should warn you, sorry.
No, it's okay. I know when it's coming. I got it figured out.
I'll try and, I should say something. It's bad etiquette to.
Great, thank you.
I would say just don't do the pan unless I ask for it, because like a lot of times I can get the pan.
The pan's nice too with the click.
Yeah, but pan with heading is still better.
Yeah.
So
Or I like to think it is.
the thing about the
usually it is. Yeah,
black corals that we were looking for yesterday was if the pinnules were the same length all along the stem. So that's what we're on the lookout for today here, team.